Hello, my chaotic listeners. I'm your host, Bayleigh Koch, and you're listening to Clinically Chaotic, the podcast where we dive into life's crazy ride, from the perfect moments to the downright messy ones. I may not be a doctor, but trust me, I've earned my credibility from a life full of wild experiences and lessons learned. Hello, today I'm going to be talking about a lighter topic, considering that last episode was pretty heavy. So today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to not have a friend group like the ones that are praised within the media. So you see videos and TV shows such as Sex and the City and other movies where there's a friend group of these unbreakable friendships, where the girls go shopping and have drinks and talk about failed dates and their relationships. That, unfortunately, is not the reality for most people. So today's episode is for anyone who has found themselves feeling lonely or asking themselves the question of, where the hell is my friend group? The first point that I want to make about this is the media. The media really paints a picture of these friend groups. And so from the time that I was a little girl, you watch movie after movie and TV show after TV show of these people having perfect friend groups and going out and doing all these activities together, and then you one day wake up and you're like, it's not that easy. At least that's been my experience. So like I said, shows such as Sex and the City, The Sex Lives of College Girls, you don't get those experiences, at least in my experience, so easily. It's always been back and forth of, okay, I have a decent friend group, but some people are closer in the friend group than others, and then I'll have another friend group, but there's a big falling out because two of the people get closer and then I'm the one that gets left. Another thing is books. I read so many books. We have discussed this before, and it's really hard because at least the books that I'm consuming, I love to read books where it focuses on one character, but then the next book is on another character who's like a side character in the first book. And so it's a lot of world building, and it focuses on different relationships. I love that. And so Anna Hong, I think that's how you say her last name, has books like this. And it's really hard to not compare yourself to these books that you're consuming. So like the Twisted Love series, Twisted Games, all of these books have like this perfect friend group where they all balance each other out. You have the funny friend, you have the quiet friend, you have the one that will stick up for you, and then you have the other friend who's super smartsy and stuff. It's not that simple, and these ride or die friend groups that we see in the media convince us that we should have this perfect group of girlfriends who go out to brunch and do spontaneous girl trips and have inside jokes. And if you're anything like me, you've realized that it's not that simple. The second point that I want to make about this is the loneliness. This has been something that I've struggled with my entire life. From when I was a little girl, and I didn't have very many friends growing up because I moved schools a lot and just had a really complicated childhood, to then getting in middle school and I had some friend groups and then they fell out, and it's just like a repeated cycle. It's made me feel like I'm the problem or that there's something wrong with me. And it's not easy to admit that, but I think a lot of people can agree with that if you've had similar situations. And it's also not as easy as the media makes it out to be. In today's society, girls are mean. Everyone talks about how they're a girl's girl, but most of the time, that's not the case. You're judgmental, you aren't really a girl's girl, you go after your friends' boyfriends. There's always something wrong with these girls that they don't realize when they say, oh, I'm a girl's girl. You're really not, babe. You're really not. I also see social media posts, whether it's on Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, you see these pictures and videos and all these different posts about these girls going on trips and hanging out all the time. And it makes me feel so lonely. I have friends and a partner, but I don't have this idealized girlfriend group, you know? And it's a lot of Mod Podge friendships that I have in different areas of my life. And don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful for the friendships that I have, But deep down, that little girl who's grown up watching all of these different types of media, seeing like a group of 4 or 5 girls, like the cheetah girls, like there's so many different examples I could give, but consuming this media again and again and again for years, it really makes you want that, at least in my experience. Maybe I'm talking too broadly here, and it's not everyone who feels this way, but if you agree with me, you understand what I'm saying, that it's just a really lonely experience, and it's difficult to achieve a real friend group like that. Like I said, it's really difficult to achieve this friend group. Let's be real. Friendships are messy. People grow apart. There's drama, misunderstandings, jealousy, group chats that someone gets excluded from, and then sometimes you're doing the excluding as well. I know I'm not innocent in all this, and I probably have had a part to play in some of these friendships of mine crashing and burning, but sometimes it's just little things like you weren't invited to one party, but then the next thing you know, it's every party that you aren't invited to. Other times, it's ugly and loud and a full-blown fight and fallout of friendship. When I was in middle school and high school, I wanted to be a part of the popular group so badly. Like I said, again, the media played a very big influential part of my life, and it still does. And I think a lot of people, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, it does play a part in what you think and what expectations you have for yourself and for those people around you. So I wanted to be a part of this popular group. I wanted to be like the girls that I see in movies. And I remember I was in the friend group, but I was also still on the outs. I would invite them to sleepovers and my birthday parties, but I wouldn't get invited to any of theirs. I remember in freshman year, I had gotten up to use the bathroom, and when I walked back to the lunch table, all the girls who I thought were my friends were talking shit on me. And after that, I stopped being friends with them and found a new group. And then I had another messy fallout, and then I found another group, and it happened again. And then I found another group, and it continued on. And even now, in my current place that I am at in my life, it still happens very often where I find this group of people that I click with, and then something happens, whether it's the cursed trio, which I will get into next, or just something happens where I don't agree with the actions that this person made, and so I'm like, all right, on to the next friend group I go. So I mentioned the cursed trio. If you have had any of the same experiences as I have, this is something that I think most people are aware of, and if you aren't, you're very lucky. I've had this happen multiple times now, where you have a friend, and then you get another friend, and suddenly it's you and your trio against the world. You have 3 people who get along very well. You all balance each other out. You see the TikToks on Instagram and on TikTok, and you send them to each other, and you're texting every day, and you're hanging out all the time, until 2 people become a little closer and start hanging out more. I've been in both positions where I've gotten closer, and then the other person eventually leaves, and on the opposite side of it, where 2 people get closer and then I get dropped. It isn't fun, and to me, most trio friendships don't work out because there's always an imbalance. No matter how hard you try to balance it, it's really difficult to keep it balanced. While the cursed trio didn't work out for me, or being with the popular group, here's the good news. While I've cried after unfollowing people that I used to call my friends, and I've walked through Target pretending I wasn't bothered that I didn't have a friend group that was blowing up my phone about weekend plans, I've learned to be comfortable in the silence. Being alone taught me how to enjoy my own company. It showed me that what I actually need in a friend is not someone who will hype me up in the comment section of Instagram, or someone who will tell me what I want to hear, but someone who sees me, who listens, who doesn't make me feel like a backup plan. It taught me to love solitude instead of fearing it. I now enjoy being alone. I like going to Target by myself and listening to podcasts and spending time reading and doing other things that interest me. I've also learned to appreciate the collage of friends that I have made and have in the different areas of my life. Now, here's some advice that I have. If you have also felt lonely, learn to embrace it. Once you learn to enjoy your own company, it becomes a lot easier when friendships don't work out. And it also makes you more comfortable to try and form friendships because you know you don't need them because you have your own back at the end of the day. Another piece of advice that I have is learn to appreciate the podge friends. You don't need to have a perfect friend group like we see in the movies and read about in books all the time. I have so many friends in so many different areas of my life, whether that's from high school, from jobs, or even just from school and the connections that I've made a lot of different friends in different areas of my life. And honestly, sometimes it's a little bit more convenient because I have friends who I don't talk to every day, but then when we do hang out, it's like we were picking up right where we left off. Like there was no distance and no time in between our last hangout session. So finding those friends who understand that you're an adult, you're going to be busy, you're not going to talk every day is really important, and I think it's something that is very valuable within a friendship. But if you are listening and you feel like you are the only one without a girl gang or a picture-perfect friend group, I see you and I understand you. You're not behind, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're on your own timeline, which is perfectly okay. And also, maybe it's happening for a reason, and the universe is going to send you a friend group soon. At least, I like to think that it never hurts to have hope. Okay, that is enough of me word vomiting my emotions for one day. I hope that you connected with this episode, and if you made it to the end, I thank you for listening, and be sure to follow me on socials, and feel free to DM me, and we can talk about the loneliness and the difficulty of not having that picture-perfect friend group together. Because even if we feel alone, it doesn't mean that we have to be alone. Thanks for listening. Unfortunately, that's a wrap for this week's episode. Join us next time for more chaotic moments, and be sure to follow us for more chaotic content on Instagram at Clinically Chaotic the Podcast, or leave us a review. Until next time, stay safe, stay chaotic, and remember, you're never alone in this mess called life. Bye!